Alright, YouTube shooting people, this is part 2. Tell you, man, turn on the camera, the phone rings. Part 1, we replaced the front sight with a Dawson, a really nice Dawson front sight. This is a rear sight install. So what comes to the rear sight when you install it? Let's take a look at the package. In the package is some nice stuff that you'll need, right? Screwdriver. Get to why you need that. An Allen key that'll be used momentarily to cinch down that sight for you. And already put that aside. A nylon tipped punch so you don't wreck that sight. Okay, right here. Okay, all included in the sight. For the front and rear sight, shipped with a little tube of Loctite, it was like $130 shipped. Not bad. And of course the sight. So now this sight is a adjustable rear sight. You can adjust windage and elevation for it. The rear that faces you is serrated. So what's nice about that is there's no glare if you're shooting in bright sunlight on your sight. And of course it's adjustable, which is just beautiful. When you position this sight, it's also pretty much flush with the back of the slide. Okay, very, very nice piece of equipment. Step 1 is simply to remove the Glock sight. The Glock sight, it doesn't really matter too much what direction you take this out in, because the way the dovetail is on a Glock sight is it's sort of, you know, it goes like let's see something here. It goes thick, thin in the middle, thick, right? So there's really no directionality, but you can just take it out, in this case, from the left side of the slide to the right. And here we go. We're just going to tap it out with a nylon punch, nice and easy. And it comes right out. You can see it's moving right out. You know, and again, this is a finesse job. It's not, you don't want to really crank on it. There you go. Right? Set that aside. It's totally reusable. Alright, now what you want to do is just dry fit your adjustable sight. And what we want to just see is how well that fits in there into the dovetail. And what we'd like to do is kind of get this to come in about halfway. Alright, if it comes in about halfway, that's a good thing. If it doesn't come in halfway, we're going to have to do some filing on the sight to get it in. Alright, so, you know, if I just tap this a few times down at the bottom here, you know, I could probably drive that in, but I'm not gonna. I want it to have a little bit more room on it, and with a little bit of Loctite in there, you should be able to get that thing in pretty nice shape. All right. Alright, the other thing you're going to need is a triangular file. Here's one. This file has 2 smooth sides on it, so you're not going to scratch it, and then the serrated part. Alright. So all we're going to do now is on the front of that sight, go ahead and if you look at the way the dovetail is made here, what we essentially want to do, now on this particular sight there's 2 screws in it to cinch it down later. Right, there's one here, you can barely see it on this camera, and one here. Right. So what I want to do, if I'm going to mess with this, is make sure that those screws are nowhere near where you're filing. Okay, because I want to file down the front part of it. What I can do is simply take the sight, press it down a little bit, like so. Right? Let's get this on camera for you. And I'm going to just basically make sure those are backed out. Right? So I'm going to push down a little bit and then take out this screw, the elevation screw. Comes right out. Set it aside. Lift this up. There's 2 springs in here, because that puts the resistance so your elevation stays where it should be. And go in there with my Allen key and just back these out so they're not anywhere near being contacted by the file itself. Alright, so there you are. There you have it. They're all set. Go back now and replace that screw and get the sight back together. Alright, so when you hit it with the punch, nothing gets really bothered. Alright, so there I am. Take that grease off. There's going to be some grease in these sights because they are metal. You're going to file. Okay, a little bit goes a long way here. Again, the trick is I want to get to about halfway point. Right, I'm pretty close, but I want to get to the halfway point. Alright, now all I'm going to do is file this. How do you now? You got to know how to use a file. So here we are. Try to do this on camera as best I can. Let me back out a little bit. File in only one direction, folks. Okay. Again, make sure you're doing it nice and flat. Okay. If you don't know how to use a file, maybe this isn't the job for you. But basically, one direction. Yeah. Make sure the file is nice and flat. And we just go through here and remove some of that material. It doesn't take much. And you want to make sure you're moving it uniformly across the front rather than just on the edges. Yeah? Now this isn't, brain surgery, but then again, it's kind of finesse. Blow the filings off or wipe them off as best you can. Okay. We'll go back here and try the fit again. I can tell you that's about halfway. So you saw, how little filing I actually did. Well, that's about halfway right there. So I'm going to back this out again and hit it a couple more times with the file. Right? Here we are. Just a couple more times. I actually feel like you're kind of more removing burrs, perhaps, than actually going nuts on this thing. Again, we take our friend the compressor, we blow away those filings. You don't want them in there. Okay. Also, make sure you didn't put any burrs on the underside of it. Right? Go back, we dry fit it. Yeah, we're pretty much, I'd say, pretty close. Pretty close. You don't want to overdo it because you don't want this thing to ultimately become loose on you, right? One or two, maybe three more strokes. That's what she said. 1, 2, 3. Get a nice press fit on this guy. Blow that out. And I can actually inspect my filing. It actually looks pretty good. I don't know if you can see that here. It's fairly even. See that? I've taken away the material, the black, uniformly here. That's what you want to do. Alright, now we're exactly halfway. Wunderbar. Alright. Now, what's the trick? No tricks. Biggest thing here is degreasing. Again, get your Q-tip, put it in your isopropyl alcohol, degrease the dovetail on the slide very well. Don't be afraid to do this. Get all that oil and stuff off. It's just inevitable. And degrease the bottom of your slide as well. I'm using blue Loctite on this slide. Lots of guys use permanent Loctite, the red stuff. Blue's fine on this one because there's actually little Allen screws in here that'll tighten that sucker down. Alright? And we're going to just simply go ahead. It's dry already. Both sides are dry. We're going to looks pretty good. Make sure this is dry. Okay, let's install that sight. So we put it in the dovetail, and just simply make sure you're not whacking on the back adjustable part. Make sure you're actually hitting the dovetail, and just drive this thing in there. Right? It looks like I'm hitting it like a monster. No, it doesn't. It looks like I'm whacking it pretty good. The fact of the matter is, it's a nylon tip punch, so really you're not hitting it that hard. It's kind of absorbing a lot of the impact because it's nylon tipped, and it should go pretty steadily for you. Right? Now, there we are. The key thing here is you want to make sure this is exactly in the middle. Alright? You want to start with this exactly in the middle. If you're really good at eyeballing things, I guess you can eyeball it. I'm, okay at it, but I'm rapidly moving into the old fart stage. And so what I would do is grab a caliper and try to measure it. Now, the way you measure this is you're not going to get a caliper in here, but you can go from one side of the sight to the frame on the other side. Yeah, so one side of the sight to the other side here. Alright, that's 0.83 on that side, and on this side it's actually going to be more. Oops. I am also hopelessly right-handed. Zero this thing. Right, and then we go to this side, blah blah blah. Oh shit, 0.873. On this side I am so it's over to the right. I got to hit it just a little bit more, move it over. Just drift it. And I mean, just tap it. Don't. Okay, so fuss with it a little bit. It's perfectly in the middle of this slide. There's no question about it. It's 100% in the middle. Remove your elevation screw carefully without scratching things. I hate when things are all friggin' scratched up and shitty looking. Now, if you look in here, you're going to see from the back, there's two Allen. Let's turn this whole thing around for you. There's position here where right here and right here are two Allen screws where you can actually go through now and set this thing, set it down a little bit, cinch it down a little bit rather. Yeah. So we go through it nice and easy. Now, one thing you can do eventually is when this sight is ready to go, we're going to just, these are going to help you make sure that this thing does not friggin' move on you. But when this thing is actually done, what we'll actually go ahead and do is remove these screws and put Loctite in the holes and Loctite them down. Right? And that's basically the way it works. Go through and degrease this a little bit. And you can see there's a lot of crap that's on there because, again, this just needs to all be degreased. Right? We get our screw back. It's real nice that the screwdriver they send you is in fact magnetized. So we go through, cinch down our sight, bring it all the way down. That's all the way down. And there you have it. Let's look down it, see what she looks like. Okay. So there you go. and here's what your sight picture will look like. Alright, let's try to get a better view of that by doing it this way. You understand the outstanding camera work I am capable of. Now you see how thin that front post is compared to the back notch? You want that because that gives you very fast target acquisition. It's not as good for accuracy, but what I'm shooting this for, that's basically what you want. Something that looks like that. Yeah? Looks good. Well, if you have a nice tight press fit in here, which I do, this thing's not going to move on you. Okay? You also have those two Allen screws that'll keep that in place. I don't like to Loctite it in to the dovetail. That's just me. But what you can do is once this is zeroed, right, remove your Allen screws partially so there's a few threads exposed. Take your a toothpick or a probe, put some Loctite on either one of those, push them in so they stay in place. As long as those are in place, this side is not moving. Okay, it's just not moving. That's what I got for you. Let's just reassemble this firearm. And you know, again, by the way, there's no scrapes or anything on this. It's a real clean installation. Let's just show you what this looks like. There's the sight. It's gorgeous. So I didn't, you know, it doesn't look like you installed it with this is just residue from the masking tape that I used to further protect it. That comes right off. And the front sight looks real good too. Yeah? Money. Alright, let's just reassemble this guy. This is the ubiquitous Glock reassembly. Put in the recoil assembly, grab my frame, and that's pretty balls. It really is. And then I could, of course, adjust. The nice thing about this sight is I can adjust my windage and my elevation. It's an adjustable rear sight, and what's nice about it, you can actually see in the sun, in this light, you see I'm getting some glare off the back of the slide. With the serrations, you don't get that glare. So it's real good. Real good. All right, folks. Thank you.